we would like to welcome Antiona Burrell. Welcome to the Wellbeing Cafe this
Hiya.
morning. How are you this morning?
I'm really well, thanks. Lovely to see you, Mike, and thanks so much for having me on. It's just
Fantastic. Heard so much about you. You've got a lot of supporters and fans who keep telling me all the wonderful things that you're doing. I think it started with Luke Smith, who I'm glad he's on the show as well today.
Yes, Luke. Yeah, good friend of mine, Luke. One of my wonderful friends. Yeah.
Excellent, Antonia. So let's start by you telling us a bit about who you are, and we'll systematically go through. I've got some questions for you, but let's start with a background. Who are you? What do you do?
Right. So I guess I've been in the wellness, the holistic space, the skincare space, the beauty space, if you'd like to call it that, for about 30 years now, a very, very long time. And within my career has spanned from, being a dog's body as a junior spa therapist at the Sanctuary in London. Then I qualified as a teacher, and I'm now an associate lecturer at the University of Arts, teaching botany and the chemistry of aromatherapy and how plants really do and make a difference, and what the oils do and how they work. My business, I've also worked as sales directors. I've had salons and spas, which I've owned before. But my current business works with still a clinic based in London, where I specialise in skin treatments now. And I see people for skin problems like serious stuff in my eyes. It's not just all about the wrinkles for me. It's about emotional well-being. It's about holistic well-being. It's about what your skin is saying to you and how this is translating your holistic well-being. So I work with the whole person, but I also help to treat them using the power of plants and some other things as well, to help with serious issues like acne and pigmentation and deep problems that affect somebody's self-esteem. So it's not just a simple matter of saying, oh, go away and look amazing and still feel terrible. It's about helping them to an inspiring happiness. So I have a wonderful brand and based on, total plants, but it's fabulously based on biotechnology, sustainability, and super science of plants based on efficacy. So what you see, it works, and my name's on the product. And I wanted something that was going to be very effective, that worked for a myriad of skin tones, and where people can see results very, very quickly. Because if you've got some problematic skin issues, you don't want to have to wait for 28 days, which used to be the classic waiting time to see your results. And so that's what I do. And I also work as a medical missionary, which is working through, again, with a holistic practice, all about the well-being. So taking into consideration the whole aspect of a person. What are you eating? Are you having high blood pressure? Great. Well, why? And let's look at your diet. Let's look at your exercise. Let's look at your sun exposure. Let's look at all sorts of things on a holistic level. So I live holistically, and I also help people to get and feel better about themselves in a healthy way holistically too. I hope that's given you a bit of an insight there.
Fantastic. There's so much there that we're going to
Thank you, David.
Process. Brilliant. So when I was in South Africa, I met an ethnobotanist, and I was intrigued with how they were trying to bring back age-old medicine, because there's healing in the plants. And 2020, the year we're in, the biggest disease burden is mental health issues.
Yeah.
It's not cancer, it's not COVID, it's not diabetes, it's not, multiple sclerosis. Biggest disease burden on the planet is mental health issues. And so there was a conversation that I was involved in around how we can use the power of plants to help in the psychology and the physiology of the human. And so I'm really interested in digging in a bit more to ask some of those questions for you. But before I do that, how did you get involved in this thing? I mean, you started off in the Sanctuary, as you said, a general dog's body, but was it something you studied at school, or were you always ambitious about this, or did you just fall into it as a result of volunteering or taking the most available job? How did you start?
Well, I mean, that goes right back to my childhood, and my parents are Sabbath keepers, and so on a Friday night, it was no TV, no radio, nothing except some prayers and some Jim Reeves playing downstairs. And basically, as a teenager, my skin began to play up, and I wanted to discover why. So back then, way back then, living in Derbyshire, the only two shops that were around was Debenhams and Boots. Debenhams was my mum's shop. That's where she used to go for her Estee Lauder and all the glamorous stuff. I couldn't afford Debenhams. But so I went to Boots and went in there and spoke to loads of different people who were at the counters. So it was number 7 and all these different counters that were there at the time. And I said, look, my skin's breaking out. I don't know why I've got these spots. I don't know what's going on. Can you help me? What products do I need to use? So I'd go to this person, this person, this person, and this person. And do you know, Mike, they all said completely different things to me. So I was more confused after speaking to them. Being a nosy, inquisitive person, I just thought, well, that doesn't help me. I need to go find out and figure this myself. So at the time, there was this bookshop called Dillon's in Derby. And I just saved up my pocket money. I used to go in there a lot. And there was this book called Harry's Cosmetology. It was about this thick. And it was £70 at the time. I Googled it the other day. It's now worth nearly 400 quid. So that gives you an idea of the expense of this book. And I looked in this book and I saw all about the skin. It spoke to me. It resonated with me. It answered my questions. So I saved up and up and up. And then eventually I went to buy that book. It had formulations in it. I didn't understand formulations. I was never really that amazing at maths because most of my childhood was spent in hospital with asthma. So as an academia, I wasn't great, but the science of the skin resonated with me and I was able to understand why my skin was reacting as it did. That was it, really. Left it there and used to sort of use the Friday evenings, the Sabbath, as my pamper night and bought masks and stuff. But that's really where the seed was planted. But then I started to see some things working. I thought, this is amazing. And I was on, I passed my A-levels and I was on a course to do educational psychology at the university in London. And at the last minute, I just thought, I don't want to do that. I don't like maths anyway. And a whole year was dedicated to statistics. Nightmare. So I then went behind my parents' back, and I rang up all the colleges that were able to give the highest level of beauty therapy or skin training at the time. I think if I lived my life again, I'd become a GP, a doctor, and become a dermatologist. And I got onto 2 places, one in London, one in Chichester. They accepted me. So because my sister was going to be in London, I just thought, right, let's go rock London. But I didn't tell my parents. I couldn't dare tell my parents. But then on the way down to London, when they were moving us both and driving us, I had to break the news because obviously, you know, it had to come out. And my dad nearly crashed the car and he was embarrassed and he was disgusted. Because if you remember back then, or if you can imagine 30 years ago, the beauty industry was acrylic nails, it was waxing, it was nothing like it is today. But I knew that this is what I wanted to do. So I followed my heart, I followed my gut, and here we are today. And I've never diverted from the industry. I've always stayed on it. And so my knowledge of skin is super, super deep, which is why I guess, you know, I've got what I've got. So yeah, I guess a key thing there is if you have a deep desire about something and your instincts telling you to do something, do it. Just absolutely follow your heart. This is one of the keys to success and happiness in life.
Wow, perfect. Thank you. So I think you're probably the second person in the cafe who said they went against their parents' wishes.
Well, it wasn't necessarily going against my parents' wishes. It was just
doing yours.
Doing my wish,
yeah.
And knowing that my parents wouldn't necessarily support me and probably talk me out of it. And I was like, no, this is what I want to do. They don't need to be here. They don't need to be involved in this. This is my decision and I'm going to do it. And I guess that attitude of grit and determination and just doing what you need to do is really held me in good stead throughout the many years of running a business, because you do have to have that grit and that grace. You know, you have to have that sort of combination to be able to succeed in business, because it's tough. It's very tough, beauty or not. You know, business is tough.
Yeah. So, Antonia, in the season of heightened stress and trauma, like we've just coming through with COVID-19, people tend to break out in things like eczema or experience extremely dry skin. Why does that happen?
Well, it's a myriad of different things. It's no one single thing. Everybody's different. Everybody has different things. But ultimately, if I was asking the question, I would certainly start with, what's happening at home? What has changed within your life? Are you worried about something? Has something happened that's made you stressed out? Because eczema is an inflammatory, one of the body's inflammatory responses to something that's not well within your body. It's your body's way of telling you, I'm not right. I need help. You need to look at me. You need to support me here. And it's one of the body's ways to say, I'm inflamed, I'm dry, and I'm telling you about it. So I would then instantly, one of the first things I would say is, how much water are you drinking? It sounds simple, but sometimes the best remedies are simple. How much water are you drinking? Not herbal tea, not coffee, not tea, not fizzy drinks, not fruit juice. Water, pure and unadulterated water. That needs to be about 2 litres a day, because people say water helps to create great skin. It does, because it helps to stimulate your body's organs, and it helps the function of the liver, the spleen, the lungs, your excretory stuff. It helps all of those organs function more efficiently, which therefore goes on to ensure that the skin's efficient. So firstly, it would be that physiological thing. I'd be like, let's analyse that firstly. Secondly is, what are you putting onto your skin? Is there anything out there that could be, making you have an allergic reaction? Normally, though, things like eczema, acne even, psoriasis are a result of emotional matters. So it's about understanding that about yourself, and what will you do to help to release those emotional matters. So it's not just, again, putting something on your skin to say, oh, let's just put a bit of this on and it's all going to be well. It's deeper than that. It's more important than that. You have to think about, right, do I need to take 10 more minutes a day to do some deep breathing? Do I need to have a bit more of a contrast shower, which is something where, you have a hot shower and you have a cold shower, where you're really stimulating your blood circulation to work for you. Your blood is who you are. Everything is in the blood. So if your blood is healthy, you are healthy. So how is your blood? Is it static? Is it full of toxins? Is it full of sugar? Is it full of acid? We need to clean it. We need to detoxify it, and we need to stimulate it and bring it alive. Let's push it through the heart. Let's push it through the lungs. Let's push it through. Oxygenate your body, oxygenate your mind, work physiologically before you go to any topical stuff. Let's go inside and deal with inside first.
Brilliant. So how does one do that? Where do we start?
So things that are easy to do at home, you could do body brushing before you get into the shower. So a brush that you body brush with dry skin. So you use it and you're always working upwards towards the heart, start at your feet, and you body brush and you dry brush. What you're doing there is deleting and helping your body to remove dead skin cell buildup. And so what happens in times like eczema, for example, this is a classic example where the skin loves to just coagulate together, and all the cells just build up on top of each other because they're trying to protect you. Okay, that's all it's doing. It's like saying, we're not well, let's protect the skin, let's protect. So what you want to do is stimulate new cells, stimulate that blood, get rid of those dead skin cells so that the skin can excrete. The skin's an excretory organ. Very important. It's the biggest organ of the body, and it's one of its main jobs is to excrete. So let it do that. You find on your legs, on your body, and I see all the time, people that aren't actually allowing the body to excrete efficiently. What happens? You end up with spots, you end up with bumps, you end up with dry, scaly skin, right? And you think, I'll just do a bit more scrubbing with my flannel or my soap. No. Body brush, let's go deep. Let's really, in the olden days, they used to use leaves with textures to help to stimulate that skin. So, and they used to move a lot more. We don't move enough. That's another thing. We don't exercise enough. So body brushing is key. Hot and cold showers, which is what I would call a contrast shower. So one of my really good friends, wonderful friend of mine called Winston, first mentioned this to me, and I've really researched it since. And it's basically where you have 3 minutes of in this weather, warm water, and you shower with that. And then what you do, you contrast that with 30 seconds of cold. You're probably going to scream. You're going to be like, ah, right? But you're stimulating your blood circulation. It's also working wonders for your skin. Then you turn it back, 3 minutes of warm again or hot, 30 seconds of cold. And you do that for about 3 rounds. You will feel like you've taken off on a rocket after you get out of that shower. You'll feel amazing. And you'll only feel amazing because of the physiology and the natural physiology that God's created within you. You've just worked it. So you feel great, your blood circulation's going, your skin's wonderful, the elasticity's increased, you've opened and closed those pores, you've exercised those pores a little bit, and your excretion is more efficient. If you can do that, and every morning, set yourself up for your day. So if you haven't got the time to meditate, not everybody does, not everybody's into it. If you don't have the time for deep breathing, not everybody's into that either. Everyone has a shower though, right? So you can implement that into your shower, and that's a beautifully easy, holistic way of working naturally with your body, stimulating and respecting your blood supply and getting it working for you. And that will help with things like eczema, headaches, high blood pressure, diet. It will help because, as I said earlier, the blood is who you are. It's all about the blood.
Wonderful. This is really good information. You mentioned people used to use plants to scrub. Can we talk a bit more about that? Because I'm sensing that sometimes the plants, even in our gardens or which we could go and buy, have so much nutrients and values in it that we're not even aware of. Where do we start with plants?
I know
about lavender and I know about eucalyptus. But
Mike, how long have you got, my darling?
We've got about 50 minutes.
Look, couple of things. We've got some precious things in our garden. One of the main things I'm going to share, very powerful this is. Have you ever been bugged and annoyed when you go out into your garden and you see loads of dandelions? You're just like, these stupid things, they never stop growing, they really annoy me. Right. Did you know that dandelions are one of the most amazing herbs out there that really help to stimulate and cleanse your blood? Okay, it really is. If you wanted to even get some dandelion flower, as long as you trust the source of the soil, this is it. You can't just go and pick dandelion from anywhere. Okay, you've got to, if in your back garden, do you trust the source of the soil? And that's important. So, for example, you could take some dandelion flowers rather than throwing them away, put them in your kitchen, dry them out, mash them up in a pestle and mortar, add some coarse grained sea salt, add some olive oil or some coconut oil. You've got a body scrub. And the beautiful benefit of the dandelion, the sea salt, the olive oil, all of those together, and even if you wanted to leave it just to steep, you've got anti-inflammatory benefits in there, you've got, very smoothing benefits in there, there's a myriad of benefits in there. But again, if you wanted to even take the flowers and make a tea, you've got then blood cleansing properties within that dandelion. These are in your back garden. These are things that bug you and you chuck away. These are things that are designed by God here for us. Even the leaves, again, if you trust the source of your soil, you can take a couple of leaves, obviously clean, really thoroughly wash and cleanse it, finely chop, add it into your salad. Great antioxidants, great stimulators of the blood, great cleansers of the blood. And this will help to eliminate anything and neutralize anything that's in the body, and it will give you great skin. It will help to give your body this health and vitality. That's just one herb, one. Another one is thyme that we find in our back gardens. A lot of people grow it. I'm growing it in abundance at the moment. Beautiful. It's very rich in something called phenols. Okay, it's a chemical constituent called phenols. Phenols are super, super, super stimulating, again, for the blood system. We know that putting thyme into our food makes it taste great, but it's also very enriching. It's antiviral, it's antibacterial, it's antimicrobial, it's anti-inflammatory. I could go on for days about thyme. But one of the things, especially at this time of year, people have allergies. hay fever, the pollen is very, very high out there, and people can take antihistamine. I'm getting emails from people saying I'm taking 3 or 4 antihistamines a day, I'm getting swollen eyes, what can I do about puffy eyes? They're not working. Go and make some tea from some thyme. So you go pick some thyme, clean it, bash it up, what I call get a pestle and mortar or something. If you haven't got one of those, put it on a bit of a paper towel, get your fork, bash up the kind of stems, because you want to get that goodness out of the stem, whereas a lot of the chemistry is in there. Bash it up, put it in a pot, pour nice hot water on it, let it infuse, drink it. It will help with hay fever. It will help with inflammatory issues, eyes, eczema, all of these inflammatory things that I was saying earlier that you've been talking to me about. It will help with those. If you have some nettle in your garden, okay, again, do you trust the soil source? Fine. If you have your nettle in your garden, again, add this in with your thyme, and you can make a nettle and thyme tea, best anti-inflammatory, best antihistamine tea, natural, God-given. It will just reduce that inflammation, reduce sinuses. And actually, look, let me be honest, I am an asthmatic, and I've been suffering, don't know why, but more than ever in my whole life with the pollution, not the pollution, the hay fever thing. I've been blocked up, really full of sinus. And I've just been caning the nettle tea, caning the thyme tea, and it kind of instantly goes. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. So again, with the natural remedies, you do need to be consistent with it. So you do need to, drink it all the time. If the tea's too hot, then wait for it to cool. Put it in the fridge and have it as a cold drink with some lemon and ice. Improvise.
Wow. So we've heard about the benefits of ginger. We've heard about the benefits of garlic and even certain peppers for your digestive system. Is there anything else, and we know about mint, is there anything else that's easily accessible that we should be consuming?
Gosh, rosemary is wonderful. Rosemary is really great as a body relaxant. It really helps to relax muscles. So if you're out there, you're working, you even feel tense and tired and stressed and irritated and worried, rosemary is a wonderful extract. It's very calming. It's very, very detoxifying for your sinuses. So rosemary is wonderful. We've spoken about thyme. Oregano. Who's got oregano in their garden? If you haven't got oregano in your garden, get some. It is the most, right? I can't stress this enough. It's one of the most powerful anti-cancer drugs out there. It is one of the most protective plants out there in your garden. So in terms of antioxidant protection and neutralizing free radicals, whether or not that's from pollution or even medication or even from a negative mindset, it's very, very, very good to bring down anything like that. It's antibacterial again, it's antifungal, it's anti-inflammatory. Oregano is amazing. What I do, I go and get it. I've got about 3 types of oregano in my garden. And then I go and pick some, and then I'll mix it with some garlic and olive oil, and that's going on my salad as a dressing, raw, clean, there. And you can feel the essence of it working in the system. You can add a bit of thyme into that, and you can put it on your pasta, put it on your potatoes, put it on your green banana, put it on your yam. It is delicious.
Did you say put it on your yam? Excellent. All right. I've got there's a few questions in the chat box, but before I get to them, what about someone who just has these amazing sugar cravings? And what can they replace these sugar cravings with that is natural, that potentially helps with the spikes? We know that especially in the Black community, diabetes is off the scale. How can we start? Where's the starting point? Right.
So as you know, sugar in its form that we buy, especially the white sugar, is terrible for the body. It's addictive and it's not great. So there are brilliant alternatives that you can have. Yam, as I just mentioned, is a very rich carbohydrate food, which will give you a very, very steady release of insulin and very steady release of sugar in the body, healthy. If you do have a sugar craving and you love sugar, maple syrup is a very, very good alternative to sugar. It's a bit pricey, but it's the best. It doesn't give you the spikes, but it gives you that beautiful sweetness without the spikes. So that's really fantastic. Agave, I don't know if anyone has ever heard of agave. That's really fantastic as well, to help to regulate your sugar, still giving you that beautiful sweetness. Manuka honey is antibacterial, but again, if you want to add that in, sometimes I add that into my nettle and my thyme mix, just if I'm feeling a little bit phlegmy. It's an antibacterial thing there. What else? I would say adding rich carbohydrate foods like the yams, and again, it's hot right now. Have you thought of just having yam cold, just sliced cold, with a bit of olive oil, garlic and thyme and oregano on there, and a bit of steamed fish? Or it's just thinking in a different way. It doesn't always have to be hot, but these are very natural foods that are great. So these would be my alternatives for helping to cut out sugar: maple syrup, agave syrup, manuka honey, if you can get those.
All right. Thank you so much. Brilliant advice. The first question that was posed in the chat box was about the brush. You talked about brushing your body and feet up. Is it just any brush, or is there a specific type of brush needed when someone goes to Superdrugs, Boots, etc.?
Yeah, you've got a mirror. I wish I could just run upstairs and go get you mine, show you mine. But basically, you can just Google a body brush, right? Okay. Any body brush. The bristles need to be reasonably hard. You don't want something that's very soft, because if you think about your legs and that skin on your legs, you're wanting to really stimulate your skin, stimulate the blood circulation. So just go and get a good quality one. If something's £3 and you've got another one for £10, get the £10 one. It will last longer, the quality is better, and you'll get a better stimulation and exfoliation from it.
Fantastic. I'm going to just throw out some of the questions that have been asked. Black soap. A lot of people are talking about black soap. Do you know much about that? Is there any benefits to it, etc.?
Yeah, it's really nice. It's got lots of charcoal in it, which is also wonderful. So yeah, black soap's really, really great. And even combining that, a mix of that, or putting some olive oil and some sort of deep, finely ground sea salt, or even Himalayan salt is better, onto your skin after you've done your body brushing, and doing another polish and really doing a major stimulation with that. And then using your black soap to remove that, oh my, you're going to have skin like Cleopatra.
Hey. Okay. All right. Sorry, I wasn't meant to laugh at that now, but
no, it's fine. It's fine. It's no problem. But you see, you weren't expecting that, were you? Because I'm saying here, don't necessarily use the black soap just to cleanse.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. It's got nutrients in it. It has ingredients to feed and to stabilize and to cleanse and to clarify the skin. So in order to ensure that it does that efficiently, we need to get the stuff off, don't we? We need to make sure that we've got that stuff off. So body brushing, dry body brushing first. Then you've got your mix of your Himalayan salt and some nice olive oil or coconut oil. Do that next, and really go on areas like the kneecaps and the elbows where the dead skin cells tend to really build up. Then you get into the shower with that mix on, and you've got the black soap. Look, if you guys try it, ladies and men, give it a go and let me know.
Wow. Okay. So just a couple more. Ginger, I mentioned it. What's it good for?
Whoa, ginger is great. So classically, it's really good if you're feeling a bit sick, a bit overwhelmed, a bit nauseous, but it's wonderful for your gut health. Okay, so lots of data out there that speaks about the gut being the second brain, and it is. It has good bacteria and bad bacteria, but the gut is a sacred place. Ginger helps to regulate the gut for you. The other ingredients that I've spoken about support ginger. It's stimulating. Again, it's very cleansing. It's antibacterial. It's antifungal. But it's brilliant to help to regulate the health of the gut.
Fantastic. Brilliant. And there's another one here by Dr. Yasidi. Is it xylitol? Is that a good alternative to sugar, especially for diabetics?
Ginger?
No, xylitol. I think it's xylitol.
I'm not sure.
Yasidi, could you pronounce it for me, please? If you
it's pronounced xylitol.
Xylitol, yes.
What is it? I've never heard of it.
It's like a sweetener. It's meant to have a low glycemic index. And I've had some.
But what's it derived from?
Oh, I'll have to go and get one from the cupboard to check. I'll go and get one and I'll come back.
Yeah, okay. I mean, look, if it's derived from plants, and it's natural and it's plant-based, in the closest form that you can find it in its closest form to the plant version, then it's good. If it's possibly something that's had for example, let me just go here in something, aspirin, okay? Aspirin works on the basis of nature, okay? So aspirin chemistry is from a plant called meadow foam, massively analgesic. So very, very pain relieving, brings down pain, brings down inflammation, works brilliantly on your nervous system. So what's happened is that they've taken that science out of the meadow foam for only the analgesic side of it, because it's a powerful analgesic. And then the naturally occurring meadow foam has also got plant extracts and ingredients within it that actually, if you were to drink it or to mix it as a powder, it actually allows the stomach to form a type of phlegm within the intestines, which protect the intestines from the harshness of the analgesic. So whenever you're told to take aspirin, you're always told, don't take it too much because it can be a bit harsh on the stomach, right? Anyone heard that before? Yeah. And that's because they've only taken one part, the analgesic aspect of the aspirin, of that plant out, to then say we're going to use that because we know it's amazing. But what nature says is that, yes, we know it's analgesic, we know it's going to help with your pain management, but we're also ensuring that it doesn't damage you and it doesn't sorry, it doesn't make the gut go crazy, it doesn't eat out, it doesn't allow your gut to produce too much acid so that it becomes unworkable or unhealthy. So this is what I mean about the power of nature. If something is closely occurring in the plant form, then that's, for me, is a better alternative always.
Fantastic. I've got a few more things that I'd like to share and ask questions on. I'm led to believe you have a youngish child.
I do.
Yeah, brilliant. How old?
She's 2, nearly 2.5.
So brilliant. So for those parents in the room who have younger children, or maybe your grandparent, what do you tell that parent who is looking at making sure good practices pass down to their children? So it's not just using Johnson's baby oil. I'm not promoting them. I'm just saying that's what a lot of Afro-Caribbeans used to use in the bath, Johnson's. I don't know if it's good.
I mean,
I'm just saying that what practices can we put in place from early to parents, especially if you've got a 0 to 5-year-old?
Look, my daughter watches me, right? Everything I do. And a couple of days later, she's copying. And I'm just like, oh my. She watches everything I do. So I've got my rituals. I'm in the bathroom, I'm cleansing, I'm in the shower. She comes in, she watches in the shower, and then she's kind of doing it. She sometimes comes in with me. We have fun. But, recently, she's doing a thing, and she's got her trolley and whatever with her bits on, and she opened up a tub of some leave-in hair conditioner, and she had it all over the place. And she was like... all on her face, and it's all over. I've got photographs. I have to take a picture of this. So she was observing when I was cleansing, when I was cleaning, when I was looking after my skin. She was watching, and that's what she's emulating. So your children will copy you at all times in everything that you do. In terms of things that you can use for them, I like and I find coconut oil to be fantastic for lots and lots of different things. It's beautiful. You can use it in the hair. You can use it on the body. It's nourishing. It smells nice. And if you want to, it's very easy to add things like a little bit of really good quality organic lavender oil to it at nighttime if you want to do a body massage. And I massage her every night. So I would say taking that time around bath time is really important because it's really bonding. Water is super good. Hydrotherapy, water therapy is very, very efficient, very good for children. It relaxes them, it calms them down. So any child that's a bit irate or a bit angry or is having tantrums, put them in the bath for a bit. Go upstairs, set a cool bath, a nice tepid bath, splash and play, sing some songs, take them out, they will be calm, and you can add some lavender. So hydrotherapy, naturally occurring water, is very therapeutic for babies and children. But again, coconut oil, pure coconut oil is wonderful. And I would say massage as well, because just like humans, children are very, very active, right? They are all over the place, climbing up and down, mashing up place as standard. But they have knots. They get stressed just like we do. Their bodies get tight. So I massage my little girl. I mean, I'm a qualified masseuse, fine. But I massage her and I just think to myself, my goodness, she's got knots in her trapezius. I get knots there. And then she's got a few tension points in her legs, and I massage her little feet and she just melts off. So taking that time to introduce your child to touch and, you know, getting them used to you working on their back and releasing that tension for them. And that's a really good quality moment, I find. And if you're not a qualified masseuse, it doesn't matter. Your mum used to do that to you with Vaseline. It doesn't sometimes matter what it was, but it's just that touch and that connection from mum that really helped to bond. And it's that bonding, it's that beautiful connection with mum that really helps.
Excellent. Thank you, Antonia. And the final thing, because I do want to get this in before I open up, I'm led to believe you have some wonderful products yourself.
Oh, wow. Yes, I have a brand of skincare.
Tell us all about that and some of the high points of your exposure of that product in major department stores, etc. Tell us all about it.
Oh, gosh. Well, it's it's a story, quite a strong story, which started way back. And as I was saying earlier, I used to have 3 beauty clinics, which was lovely and life was good. One was in Lewisham, one was in Shepherd's Bush in London, and one was in Bloomsbury, and life was amazing. And then it was those customers within those clinics that came in and started to say, I'm 35, I'm 40, I'm even 55, and I'm breaking out in acne, or, you know, my skin's getting really sensitive and red. What can I do? But I also want to use an anti-aging product as well. And I want it to be natural. So if you imagine 30 years ago, 20 years ago even, there wasn't natural sort of efficacious products on the market that could genuinely help with things like acne and eczema for women of colour like myself, black skins, mixed heritage skins who generally suffer from dark marks and all sorts of things. And long story short, I launched my brand in my clinic days and it went really, really well. And then I took the executive decision to sell off the clinics and go solely into having a product line. Well, I knew all about clinics. I knew all about treatments. I didn't know about labeling and box weights and screen printing. I got so badly ripped off. And the money just went. The money went. If I did it another way now, I'd do it differently. But the money went, and I went through a very dry, horrible period, a long period of not having any money. So going from this place of decadence to a place of literally nothing, to the point where I couldn't buy eggs even. I'd go in the supermarket and wish that I could buy a little bit of chicken wings, or wish that I could buy some eggs. I had no money. I used to have to walk to work because at the time I was still doing treatments, but it was very little in terms of what I was doing before. And you can imagine supporting a home and, you know, my mortgage. I was single at the time, so I didn't have children there, but it was still a really, really hard time. And I was going out every day, trying to pitch my brand to spas and salons and shops. No one wanted to know, because the box weight, you know, literally the product would fall through the box and the ink was coming off the bottles. It was just awful. And I'm a very, very avid believer in God. And he's been my boss since day one, and he still is today. And I got quite angry with him because I said, this is what I know, you know, you wanted me to do. This is my gift. And I know that this is my gift that you want me to do. So what is this about? And, you know, I was applying for jobs to do box lifting in Sainsbury's, and anything that could bring me a little bit of extra money, I would do it. Everyone was like, well, you're either overqualified as a therapist, or literally, sorry, we don't think you can do the job, or just wasn't. I was getting no's everywhere. So I opened my kitchen window one day in London and I just shouted out so loud. And I said to God, I was so angry and so upset. And I was just like, what? And I went crazy. even my neighbour, because my house is normally quite quiet, right? Even my neighbour came and knocked on the door to see if I was okay, because it was that much noise. And I said, oh yeah, everything's fine. See you tomorrow. By that time, BT had cut off my bill. I was in major negotiations with Santander about my mortgage. And it was literally a monthly conversation with them. And anyway, over sort of 2 to 3 days later, would you know that I actually got a call from someone, and her name was Tracy, and she said to me, let's you know, we like your products, we really like the textures, would you like to come to the meeting? And I was like, yeah, sure. Nobody knew that I was going through this, and I didn't tell anyone. And people often say to me, why didn't you tell me? I would have given you some money. Why didn't you tell me? Well, maybe it was a bit of pride, if I'm being honest and transparent. But essentially, you know, I was a businesswoman. I was still going at it, thinking, well, actually tomorrow somebody might reply, and the next day someone might reply, and the next day. So it just was what it was. Anyway, I got to this shop and I looked great, because remember, before all this happened, I had loads of clothes and I was living a great life. So nobody even knew that this was my situation. I walked to that shop. It took me an hour and a half to walk there. By the time I got there, I was all sweaty and messed up, itchy in the loo, looking all pristine. And I had this meeting. They placed an order, which was worth about $6,000 at the time. And once that order was placed, I literally went down those escalators. I couldn't find a toilet fast enough, and I just burst into tears, and I was so thankful and grateful. And do you know, that shop was Harrods. That shop was Harrods. So it was from the pit. It was from being in a really amazing space before, and then being taken down to a pit of nothingness, to a pit of, look, I'm going to teach you how to deal with nothing. I'm going to teach you how to work with nothing. I'm going to teach you resilience. I'm going to teach you prudence. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know, because you haven't had a business degree. You don't have an MBA, but I'm getting you ready to launch a business that I am running for you, that I want you to go out there and heal skins and heal people and heal minds. I am going to train you. And that was my training. Because now, when I look at the bank account, yeah, it might look great, but that money's not mine. That money belongs to the tax man. It belongs to my staff. It belongs to investing and reinvesting. So that way of working, I had to make a pound stretch for a week, Mike. Right? And even in the beginning, you know, launching into Harrods, yeah, I'm here. My brand's at Harrods, amazing. But how do I stay here? How do I make sure my brand stays here? I need to eat. I need to make sure this is going to work. So how do I make sure that this actually is going to work? And so you can imagine in Harrods, you've got all these Chanel, Creme de la Mer, all really successful. And then you've got my brand. And there was this girl who said to me, look, you know, this is Harrods. You can't go around, you know, cold calling the customers. So you must just wait for them to come to you. So I thought, okay, great. If she knows, she's here. So in the first couple of weeks, I was basically standing on the shop floor like, afternoon, madam. Hi, yes, hello. Not one sale. And the pressure was on. They're like, if you don't sell, you're out. And I couldn't have that happen. So I thought, okay, what have I done in my past jobs, in my past experiences? I run 3 salons before. They were good. I've been an award-winning regional business manager. That was good. What can I take from that experience to make this work right now? And I just went to the one of the commercial directors of the salon, which was on the 5th floor. And I said to her, I need to go into that salon, and I need to be able to do some hand and arm massages on those customers sitting getting their hair done, so that I can introduce my products. And she's like, okay, well, yeah, eat your heart out loud kind of thing. She was just like, well, no one's done that before. And she went in the back and she introduced me to all the laundry people, told me where to get everything, introduced me to everyone. And, you know, I started to rock it. And at first, you know, these really posh ladies were just pushing their arms out to me as if to say, yeah, you can do my hand and arm massage, love, no problem. In the end, they were like, goodness, darling, that smells amazing. What is it? You must tell me what it is. In the middle, it's like, yes, can we have some more caviar and champagne? Oh, darling, is your yacht? You know, it was just ridiculous. Anyway, in the end, right, I started to sell because I was able to have one-on-one contact with these rich ladies and dukes and duchesses and really amazing people that I actually built relationships with. They still come and see me today. So I see ladies and duchesses, and I've got connections to royalty now that I actually see just from having that humble space and that attitude of wanting to serve, right? That's where it came from. It was that attitude of service. It wasn't about me. I know I needed to sell, but God put me in that position. I just thought, he's put me here. This needs to work. I need to think how this is going to work. I can't be conventional. I can't just stand on the shop floor. So that happened. And then what happened is that the other therapists started to hear, customers were really pleased with the results, and I started to sell, and you started to see figures against brand AB. The therapists liked it. I started to share my products with them, and they was like, oh, this is amazing. I really like it. Next thing you know, the beauty manager for the salon calls me in. Antonia, we really like your products, because I started to do facials then, and the demand had really started to increase with me, customers wanting me to do more treatments there. So the beauty manager calls me and she says, look, we've got this demand and we really like your stuff. Because if you can imagine the Harrods customer, can you imagine what they're like? They're never wrong. Even if they are wrong, they're never wrong. They are so demanding, right? So you imagine I'm doing facials, I'm doing all of this. Something must have been right for that level of customer to be happy. So she calls me in and she says, I would like you to design us a trade package because we want to start to implement your products within our facials. I was like, sure. So the next thing is that I'm going away, designing a whole package to then launch my brand of facials in collaboration with the spa at Urban Retreat. So they were using my products as the Urban Retreat at Harrods facial for 3 years. I trained 6 therapists and it was just amazing. So can you imagine all that started from a place of service, from a place where God had brought me down to a pit where he's like, listen, I'm not going to let you off easy. You're going to need to learn in this space. How can you make it work? And it was because of that attitude that I went into Harrods and I had to make it work. But then you see the elevation because of that humble attitude. And I really believe that being in business, being in any kind of business, working with people, it's about serving each other. We must serve each other. We must look after each other. We must love each other genuinely. Because when we do that, things happen. Beautiful connections happen within our physiology that God has created for us. Beautiful connections and friendships blossom. People feel good. They feel loved. And that's what's missing in this world right now. That's why we have this increase in mental health issues and problems, because people are fearful. People don't feel the love. Who's really genuine out there? Who can you trust? You talk to this person, you listen to the government, who's telling you the truth. But if you've got someone and a business that you know that really has you at the center, and we're here to inspire your happiness, we're genuine, we love you, we adore you, the products work, they're made for you, they're prayed over, they are blessed, they're plant-based, given from God, coming from God, then you can't lose. But it's how you implement that and how you bring that out to the consumer.
Wow. Antonio, can everyone hear me? Yeah, perfect. What a wonderful story. You're getting a round of applause around.
Oh, wow. Thank you, everybody.
It's amazing. A great, great tribute story. And I'm so glad I said, let's give you a thumbs up at the beginning.
Oh, thank you.
In advance. It's a fantastic story. I've got one more question for you before we close. A lot of men have not been trained to look after their skin. And it can appear to be too metrosexual if you're walking through Harrods and you stop at a woman's counter to get advice on facials. Most night creams and products are advertised to women. How do we as men get involved in looking after our skincare, especially our faces?
Well, for example, my product brand is out there for men, so it's unisex. That's the first thing I need to say. So anything that I say on my skincare pages, on my vlogs, on my Monday night lives, on Instagram and Facebook, it applies to men and women, okay, first and foremost, because my clients are men and women. My clients are Black, white, Asian, Chinese, from all over the world. The second thing is that your skin is an organ. It's a living organ. How can you not want to look after it like you look after your liver? A woman has a liver. A woman has eyes and ears and toes. So What makes you feel different? Because skincare, and this is what I was saying earlier, it's been associated with this glamour and, you know, glossy anti-aging thing. And men are like, well, I'm not interested in that. That's not resonate with who I am as a person. So don't think of it as that. Think of it as looking after a God-given organ that God wants you to look after and respect like anything else. So what you want to ensure that you're doing is cleansing it thoroughly, taking off those dead skin cells, especially in, you know, men of colour. You've got the issue with the beard around there, the darkness, the change in the tone of pigmentation, the possible origination of bumps and things like that. So you want to try and implement really effective tools for gently polishing and exfoliating that skin, helping it to renew itself. So what I was saying to you about earlier about the contrast showers and, you know, the Himalayan sea salt, but I do have a product called Luminous Light Polishing Powder, which is amazing for men in that area. It's soothing, it's calming, but it will polish your skin without irritation. If anyone wants one, if anyone wants to try one, then get in touch with me. As a result of this, I'll send you one free. Okay, I want you to try it. I want you to use it, and you will then see the power of plants and the power of God's given us, and how I concoct and implement all of those aspects. If you want one, try it. But it's about, you know, using things that are effective, that will help you to see results. Because I think once you start seeing results, even as a man, you're just like, wow, this thing's really good. And then you start feeling really good. And then that has an effect on your body, on your physiological aspects and your cells and how they communicate with each other. And it installs happiness. It installs positivity throughout you. So it's about looking after your skin, but what does that do from a physiological aspect as well? So, yeah.
Brilliant, Antonio. I think today you've helped us to remember that it's not just mental, it's physical. It's what we eat, it's how we exercise, it's a combined piece. And so you've really amplified a part of us that is often neglected. Yeah, we do wash it. Sometimes we don't apply the right lotions. And like you said, we end up buying stuff which has been commercially advertised, which is not necessarily good for our skins. So your website is has been published in the chat. Everyone, please cut and paste that website. Make it one of your priority searches today going forward.
Yeah, Mike, can I also say, if anybody does want to try anything, there's a promotional code, because I've just launched a product in lockdown.
Amen.
And it's a product. It's actually an air cleansing room spray. Again, based on plants and beautiful, uplifting aromas. And it's called And Breathe. So it helps to open up the nasal passages, helps you to breathe, helps to chill you out in this time of crisis and COVID, if you're feeling a little bit stressed. It's just something that you can put into your homes, especially for people who are living in London, in the, you know, you haven't got a garden necessarily, but you could spray something like this and it brings the garden and it brings that life into your space, but it cleanses the air around you and it uplifts your spirit. And the code that you can use if you want to receive and enjoy a 15% saving on my brand, you can use the code, all capital letters, And Breathe. So if you pop that into where it says promotional code, you can get 15% off. And if there's anything specifically that you want to have advice about, you want me to help you with anything, you know, I'm here for you. And that's my job. And I love my job. And I love to serve. So if you want to ask me any questions going forward, this is me. And I'm delighted and so thankful to Mike and to Claire and to my friend Luke, who introduced me, to say thank you very much for having me. And just, it's been an absolute pleasure to share with you. It really has. I've enjoyed it.